So I was looking at the story about the famous YouTubers who decided to unalive their baby. Of course, I have to say unalive because of YouTube. Their baby due to a Down syndrome diagnosis, and it made me think, what if that diagnosis was wrong? What if that report was wrong? I've seen so many stories of people coming out saying that they got a diagnosis about their child, and then it turned out that the doctors were wrong because doctors aren't God. They're not infallible. They make mistakes. They get it wrong sometimes. And it just made me wonder, like, what if their child's diagnosis was wrong? There was another image bearer that was lost and never had a chance to make it to earth. It made me think about my own testimony, actually. It made me think about my own story. I have a condition with my fingers. My fingers are curved. There's actually of course, there's a medical term for it, but I often mispronounce it because it's super long. I'll probably put it in this video. I'll spell it out in a video. But yeah, I had this diagnosis. I got it from my dad. He has it as well. He passed it along to me. And I remember during my last pregnancy, which wasn't too long ago, and going to my doctor's visits, everything was good. Everything was perfect. The baby was healthy. The baby was good. Even the doctors and the nurses said, your baby's perfect. The pregnancy is going great. All the things. And I remember holding my baby boy in my arms, and one of the first things that I did was to touch his fingers. And I held his fingers in my hand and I rubbed them and I looked at them, and I realized that he has the same condition with his hands that I have. Now, mind you, my first son didn't have that. His fingers are perfect. They're straight. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have the same condition. And it made me think about that because the doctors got it wrong. The doctors got it wrong. He had this condition and they didn't catch it, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes you can get a report of a perfectly healthy baby and they come out and the scenario is different. Now, does that make my son any less worthy to be on this earth? Absolutely not. Do I love him with everything in me? I absolutely do. Is he a child of God? Is he an image bearer of the Most High God? He absolutely is. Is he made in God's image? He absolutely is. Is he fearfully and wonderfully made? He absolutely is. And I want to encourage mothers or fathers and parents out there who may get a report. I encourage you to take a deep breath and be open to the idea that, yes, doctors know a lot, but they don't know everything. And they may get things wrong. What if that report that you got is wrong? What if your baby is actually perfectly healthy? What if their diagnosis is right, but you have this baby and it's the biggest blessing in your life? I can think of many people that I've come across who weren't deemed as perfect by society. They are such a light to this world. They bring so much joy to their families, to their parents, to their friends. They bring so much joy. Who are we to take life into our own hands and play God and decide who is valuable and who isn't valuable? Another thing I thought about, what if a child comes out perfect, as society deems as perfect, and later on in life they get a diagnosis, maybe a terminal illness, maybe a condition that changes their lives forever? Are they not any less worthy of life? Are they no longer image bearers of God? Are they no longer fearfully and wonderfully made? Of course not. And I don't know what the end game is for the YouTubers that we saw. I personally don't follow them. I don't know them. But I want this to be, I don't want this moment to be focused on their choices. I want this moment to be an encouragement for that woman, that man, that parent who may be struggling to make a choice to keep their child because they're afraid of the unknown. I encourage you to cast your cares on to the Lord because He cares for you. He cares for you and He cares for that baby. And He knew that child before it was formed in your womb, Mom. He knew that baby. Counted every strand of hair on that baby's head. Cast your cares on to the Lord. But most importantly, give your baby a chance.